Hi, everyone. Karen Putz here. Welcome to People with Passion. And I have an amazing, very passionate person with me today, Phil Gerbyshak. And how I knew that he was a person with passion that we met at the SOBCon in Chicago many, many years ago. Do we even remember what year it was?
I want to say it was 2007.
I think you're right. I was going to say 2006. So I walk into the hotel feeling really, kind of scared. It was my first big conference with all these people, who have normal hearing. And Peter comes running up to me, yellow glasses at that time. And he's like, "Hi, let me give you a hug." Yeah, and he hugged me. And we've been friends ever since. So Phil, welcome.
Thank you, Karen. It's wonderful to be with you
I'm
again.
really thrilled to have you here.
Me too.
Yeah, let's start with your journey. For people who don't know you, who's Phil?
Well, if we rewind back then, right, that was the start of blogging, and before social media. Twitter wasn't a thing. Facebook was still mostly university students. And, I had a management blog, and I was talking about management and people and relationships. And I was a VP of IT back then. And in 2010, I left. I thought I was going to be a management consultant. I was working with David Zinger. We were doing Slacker Manager, and the bottom dropped out of that. And so what could I do? Well, I knew LinkedIn at the time really well. I knew Twitter, and I knew how to sell. So I moved into coaching financial professionals, insurance professionals, business owners on sales and LinkedIn, and creating content and things that connected. So as we move forward, I've taken a few jobs. It's been a lot of fun. And I've, continued to create content, continue to care about people. And now, with my sales leadership show, I've got a podcast as well. So I combine sales and leadership and talk to folks about that. And, I took everything that I learned and I put it into my new book that just came out, $0 consultancy. And I maybe not everything I know, but it's a primer for people that are thinking about adding consulting to their business. And I did that, because I love to help. I love to serve. I love to give people resources that can help them, get their ideas out there, and often their passion and their love and their heart.
You are very, very good at that. You are who I call Mr. Networking. Because every time I turn around, you are networking or connected with someone, and it's been amazing. Let's go back to your book for a second. What are some things that people can learn from picking up your book? What are like the top 3 things that you share in your book?
Well, one big thing is I share 10 free tools, 10 tools that you can use for your business, whether it's Zoom, whether it's Wave apps, if you're using, if you need to invoice people, or whether it's Canva to do design. You don't have to pay for the apps. Now, of course, some of these you get more features if you do pay for them, but you can sign up for free and you can start using them. That's one big thing, is tools that don't cost money. A second thing is really owning who you are and your brilliance, taking time to take stock of, okay, do a skills inventory. What are you good at? What do you like to do? And what will people pay you for? And what do they need done? Now, that doesn't mean you can't pivot. I mean, I've pivoted lots of times, but you have to start, right? I think that's a big thing. You have to start somewhere. And so start with what you've already done, and you can consult with that. And then I think the third thing is taking time for yourself. The end of the book, I actually talk about burnout, because I was burned out for a while. I didn't create a lot of content. I kind of just did my work, and it was really hard, really hard. A lot of changes in my life outside of work, personally. And so I needed space, and it was hard to give myself even the grace to find the space. So I encourage folks, call a friend, take time for you. I practice I've been practicing gratitude. Gratitude is a big one. I think about 3 things that you're grateful for right now. They don't have to be big things, but anything. And then if the day gets away from you, you can come back to base and think about those 3 things. So those would be 3 things that I would say that my book can give. There's a lot more, but those are 3 big ones.
I think the gratitude part is huge. And I think it's, I've been doing that practice for a while now, the 3 in the morning and the 3 at the end of the day, bookending your day with gratitude really shifts everything. And I also think that's the piece that's missing in business, that especially the personal and the work blend. Today, more than ever, we are blending our personalities with our work, especially on social media. That's what makes people stand out in business, is actually showing their personality, which you do so well. I mean, if anybody thinks of Phil, they think of that amazing, bright, big personality that you have. It shines through in your work. So let me ask you this, what do you do for fun?
Well, I've got 2 bonus kids now. So I've got a 7-year-old. He likes to do stuff. So I try to spend time with him, and my 16-year-old daughter, I like to spend time with her. My wife is my best friend. So I love to spend time with her. We go to the movies. Love to, have a meal. We go to Cinepolis or to Studio Movie Grill to enjoy a movie and a meal. That's fun. And, I read a lot. I've got a lot of books that I read, a lot of business and self-help. I mean, that's fun for me. And then, we watch a few shows. So I just finished Ted Lasso, which I love Ted Lasso. We watched The Fugitive. I like those government spy type political thrillers. Those are cool. I'm looking forward to Jack Ryan coming out. So we do that. And then being in Florida, I don't get to the beach as much as I'd like, but I do get to the water. So we live in a place called Waterloo Village. It's in Winter Garden, Florida, and there's water all around us. So I'm grateful that I can do that. I mean, really 2 blocks from where I live, there's water, so we can get to the water.
Home of the alligators.
I guess, it's funny. People say that, Karen. I have not been close enough to be afraid of one yet, but I know a lot of people who have.
I must attract them. I get in the water and there they are when I'm going barefooting. I am always the last one to barefoot, because I always say that the first ones are hungry and then the first barefoot water skiers, not me. Yeah, they used to mock me and try to make me go first, but no, not gonna happen.
Good for you.
That's the only thing that I don't like about Florida, are the alligators. Other than that, it's a great state.
Yeah.
Beaches, sun, fun. Yeah. So let's talk about this word, my favorite word, passion. What does that mean to you? How do you define passion?
Well, passion for me is something that gives me more energy. And what that allows me to give of my energy as well. It's cyclical, we don't always have it, but what I'm passionate about, is what gives me energy and what powers me to be able to give of myself to others. So that's how I define passion for me anyway.
Yeah, I love that word. It always lights me up. Yeah. So when you look back on your career, your businesses, one of the things that I tell people is that we need awe moments in our life. When we look back and we're just plain awe, oh, I can't believe that happened, or awe, what an amazing experience. What is an awe moment that you experienced in your career or in your business that really stands out in your mind?
Boy, so in my business, one of the first time that I ever quit my job and kind of quit and got fired stands out to me. I was pretty unhappy. I was selling high-speed internet, and I remember telling my boss I didn't feel we were being paid fairly, and so I did some research. I found out what would be a fair rate and let her know, that that was going to be fair. And we talked about it, and then she said she'd think about it. And I realized then she wasn't going to make me whole. So I interviewed for another job actually on my birthday. And I remember there, right there for that new job, I was like, wow, like the energy here is amazing. The people are great. They really value personal growth and opportunity to move up in the organization. And I was like, well, this is where I want to be. So I remember that really very clearly. And when I got done with that, I was like, I really want to work here. This would be great for me. And I'll tell you, it completely changed my life. The organization was strong investments, and the work that I did, I was a stockbroker for a while. I helped people trade trade money online with stocks and bonds and mutual funds and options. And that really set me on the path that I'm on today because of that personal development. We had a wonderful university. Tammy O'Connell was our librarian. We had a work librarian. So any book that we needed, I was finishing my degree, she would help us do research for our papers, would find any book that we wanted, get it from a library. That was back when Interloan was just starting out. So those are pretty cool times. And that period of time, I can't say, just that, not just that moment, but then the next few years really set me up for success. And I'm grateful to Tammy. I'm grateful to Dick Strong and Matt Strong for the opportunity there, and everybody that I met. It was really wonderful.
And let me ask you this. You found the courage to leave. What do you think is that secret sauce that people can tap into to have the courage to leave a situation that's not currently serving them? What is that secret sauce that gives people that courage?
Well, I think it's self-belief. You have to believe that you deserve better. You have to believe that you're good enough to get something else. And I think you also have to believe that if you're not perfect for the job, you should still apply, because nobody is a perfect fit. If you think about a job posting or a company, that's hiring, never do they find someone that checks every single box. Some people are overqualified, some are underqualified. So just believe in yourself, apply for it, and recognize that, if you don't get it, at least make a connection. See how you might be able to work together, even if not in that position, because they might see something else somewhere else that they could help you meet someone. So I think, self-belief is probably the biggest thing, at least for me. And if you don't have it, lean into somebody who does believe in you, because you can borrow it. And that's pretty awesome too, because I haven't always believed in myself. I've had challenge with that as well, but I've borrowed it from people when I've done things. And the good news is you don't ever have to give it back, because once you do it, then you realize, well, I can believe in myself now too. So I would say that self-belief is that secret sauce, Karen.
And I think that's where the value of a life coach comes in. Is if you need to borrow it from someone, borrowing it from a life coach can be one, option to consider. So when you look back and think about life lessons that you've learned, what is one of the greatest life lessons that stands out for you right now?
Oh, well, Ron Munns was the founder of HDI, which was formerly the Help Desk Institute. And one of the things that he taught was all about pickups and drop-offs. So every place you go, every meeting you have, everything you learn, you should pick up one or two things, right? You learn something new, you meet a person, right? But then you should also drop off. And so you should take what you know and you should share it with somebody else, and you should give that to somebody else. Or maybe it's something that you need to let go of, so you can just drop it off completely. That's probably one of the biggest life lessons. And the first time I heard it, I'll tell you the truth, it didn't resonate with me. I was like, yeah, okay, I get that. Well, I thought it was all about picking up. So I would go to these meetings. I went to Ron's meeting and I picked a lot of stuff up, but I wasn't dropping anything off. And about a year later, another speaker by the name of Kirk Wiesler, he challenged me and said, it's great that you're a really smart guy, But who are you sharing that knowledge with? Who are you giving that to? Who are you dropping that off with? And really stuck with me as, as smart as I am, or as smart as I could be, if I can replicate myself and empower other people to also have the knowledge and the experience and the things that I have, my life can be very different, because then eventually I can become the dumbest guy in the room and I can learn from everybody about something. And so between Kirk and Ron, those are the big things that I learned. The drop off and sharing other things is really important to me. I love to give and I love to help as much as I can. I mean, that's why I write books. That's why I produce content. My goal is to share my story and help everybody else recognize, that their stories matter too. And they're not alone. I mean, some of the stuff I've been through, I know that at the time I was like, oh my gosh, this sucks. But I realized that I went through it to connect to somebody else who might need it.
That's amazing. I really never thought of it that way, about pick up, drop off, especially the drop off part about what we could share with others. I think so many times we hold back, thinking maybe we're not important, or what we have to share doesn't really make an impact, but it does. Sometimes the smallest things that we learn have the biggest impact of all. I'm just curious, who's the most famous person you've met?
Oh, famous, huh? Boy, I don't know. Let me think. Well, at SOBCon, JJ French, right? I met him. JJ's the founder of Twisted Sister. That's pretty cool. I got to meet JJ. Let's see. Oh, you know who it is? I bet probably Judy Carter. Judy Carter is Seth Rogen's comedy coach and wrote the stand-up Bible. And I met Judy. I actually spoke right before she did, and I'd never met her before. And somebody had told her that I'm kind of a tech whiz kid. So as she's like walking up the aisle, about to go on stage, she hands me her phone and says, "Hey, dude, I hear you're great with phones. I need you to fix my calendar," and gave me her password. Karen, I'd never met her from anybody. I didn't honestly, I didn't know who she was until she spoke. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like she gave me her phone. That's pretty cool. So I got to meet her, and then I got to meet Dr. Michio Kaku. He's pretty famous too. He's written a lot of cool stuff. And I was backstage. I was I guess the main stage kind of entertainment MC, if you will. And Dr. Kaku was about to go on stage. So I got to meet him too. So those are three pretty famous, but I'll tell you, I'd rather spend time with you, Karen. I like normal people like me. I mean, really, I want to connect. I don't care about famous people. I don't get starstruck. It doesn't matter to me. It's fun. Don't misunderstand me. I mean, but I think everybody has a story. So I'd rather meet someone like you who'll actually give me more than 5 or 10 minutes, and then we can really connect and share some stories.
Super, you are seeing Phil in action. That's Phil. He makes you feel like $1,000,000 and like you're the only person on earth that he wants to connect with right now. And that is his magic. That is the magic that if we learn that Phil magic, our business take off. Getting takes just side in action with Phil. Woohoo! Yeah. So wrapping this up, if someone came up to you and said, "Phil, I am just really at rock bottom right now with my business. I don't, my self-esteem is in the toilet. Things are just not moving along." What piece of advice would you give that person?
Well, the first thing I'd do is I'd make sure that we're sitting somewhere privately, and I'd ask some more questions. I'd want to understand more. My friend Rajesh Sethi said to me once when I asked him for advice, he says, "Phil, coach yourself. What advice would you give you when you're struggling, when things are hard?" So that would, I would see, what have you already tried? What hasn't worked? Why hasn't it worked? And then I'd ask, so how would you define success after we're done here today? Because I'd want to understand, because just advice, right, is kind of empty. So I'd want to know more about them. I'd want to connect a little bit more. But if I was going to say, one thing that can help people, and that is, you know more than you think, you know more people than you think, and you can do more than you realize. So start with either something that you can do, right? Get some action. You have to move forward, or at least move, right? Activity breeds energy, and energy breeds passion, and passion can breed success. So I would say, get moving, right? Get moving. If you're still stuck, I would give folks my phone number, and we can certainly, I'll share my number. It's 414-640-7445. Call me, pick up the phone, send a text, if you don't have anybody else. Otherwise, call someone that you trust that will hold space for you, and then pour out into them. Drop that off and ask them for some help as well. And then know that you probably know already what needs to be done. You just need to have the courage to sit up straight, take a deep breath, and do it. Because it's going to happen. I mean, success is going to happen for people. Granted, okay, it might not be as grandiose as you expect, but if you redefine success for you as something that you want to do that makes you happy, much like I defined passion earlier, just find that and then take the first step. Get started. That's what I would recommend to folks. And, self-esteem, again, borrowed from a life coach, borrow it from me, focus on something you can do. Hopefully you've taken some notes over the years about things you are good at. Maybe you've kept an esteemed journal of nice things people have said to you. Go back and look at that. That person still exists. So believe that. Know that better days are coming. They might not be here tomorrow. They might not be here this week, but they're coming. Just take some time and believe that, and you can make it happen.
That was gold. That was gold. Of this whole interview, that wrap up was gold. You know more than you think you do. You know more people and you can do more than you realize. That's gold right there. All of it. Wow. Thank you, Phil, for sharing so much. There may be somebody out there watching this video and transforming their lives just by those words you shared. So thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.